All right, guys, today we are going to read chapter 3, 4, and 5. Chapter 4 is kind of short, so we're going to knock out 3 chapters today. All right, chapter 3 is called More Bad News. Mother came to get me from school that day. She said she would drive me and Sheldon home so we wouldn't have to take the bus. I went to the parking lot very limping. Sheldon was still wearing the ice bag on top of his head. My, it must have been quite a day in room 1, said Mother. Sheldon did a sigh. I've had better, he said. After that, both of us got in the back seat and we buckled our seatbelts. Sheldon quick put his window down and Mother turned around. I don't know, Sheldon. That's going to be a lot of wind on you, don't you think? I like wind, said Sheldon. Wind makes my cheeks flap. Mother stared at him. Okie doke, she said kind of quiet. Then she turned around and started the car and we drove out of the parking lot. Sheldon leaned his head close to the window and he tilted his head into the rushy air. He opened up his mouth so the wind flapped his cheeks. Both of us started to laugh. Only just then a little bit of trouble happened because Mother went around a corner kind of whizzy and Sheldon's head got tilted even further and whoosh, the ice bag flew right out the window. Sheldon sat there very still. Finally, he rolled the window up and he drummed his fingers on his seat. Today isn't really going to be that good for me, he said. I nodded and I patted his arm because sometimes I understand that boy perfectly well. That night, I tossed and turned in my bed because my toe did not like things touching it. That's why, not even the sheet. Only here's the worstest part of all. The next morning, I took off my covers and my whole entire toenail was black. I did a scream at that sight. Mother and Daddy came running. Junie B., what on earth is the matter? Said Mother. My toe is the matter, my toe is the matter, I hollered back. Look, look, look. I held up my foot for Mother to see. Oh my, the doctor said this might happen. Your toenail has a bad bruise on it. I wrinkled my eyebrows at her. A bruise? That's all it is, just a bruise? Mother nodded. Yep, it's just a bruise, Junie B., but I'm afraid it's going to be a little painful to wear shoes for a little while. You can kind of see your black toenail. Daddy sat down next to me. Don't worry though, honey. As soon as it grows out, it will look normal again. He pointed to his bare foot. Look at mine. I've bruised my big toenail many times over the years, but it always grows back, good as new. See? I looked at it and made a face. Daddy's big toe is not attractive. Just then tears came in my eyes. I touched my toe very gentle. Ow, 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 it hurts even worser than yesterday. And now, what am I supposed to do? I don't want to wear sandals again to school. Sandals don't protect toes from getting hurt. Mother thought for a minute and then she went to my closet and she got out my old red sneakers. She cut a hole in the top of one of them with my scissors. She held it up for me to see. Ta-da! She said real singy. And what do you know? The hole was right where my sore piggy toe could be. Mother helped me put on my red socks and then she slid the holy sneaker on my foot very careful. And it didn't even hurt that badly. After breakfast, Mother drove me to school again. Only at first, when I went to my room, I felt shy about my sneaker hole. So I snuck to my seat and I showed it to my friend Herb in private. And guess what? His whole face lit up. A window, he said. You got a window in your shoe. I did a giggle at that idea. Yeah, a piggy toe window. Just then, Sheldon came hurrying into room 1. He had a shiny red Band-Aid on his forehead. He stood in the front of the room and he pointed to it with his finger. No one touch this, please, he said real loud. He turned to Mr. Scary. Even though I came to school today, I'm still not totally right up here, he said. Mr. Scary nodded. Yes, Sheldon, I'm very aware of that. Sheldon kept on talking. I probably shouldn't play in the kickball tournament on Friday either. What if I'm standing at home plate and a ball starts rolling at me, then hits a rock and bounces up and smacks me in the Band-Aid and I get a bump on top of my bump? He did a little shiver. Double bumps would not be good. Mr. Scary looked at him. No, Sheldon, double bumps would not be good. But don't worry. Between now and then, I'm sure we'll come up with something else you can do in the tournament. After that, Mr. Scary glanced over at me. And don't you worry either, Junie B., he said. We'll think of something else you can do too, okay? I raised my eyebrows at that guy. Yeah, but I don't want to do something else, Mr. Scary. I want to play in the kickball game. I've been practicing really hard. Mr. Scary smiled kind of sad. I know you have, Junie B, but your toe is already sore. You're not going to want to kick a ball with it on Friday. I sat there a minute, because I never even thought of that problem before. All of a sudden, my shoulders felt very slumping. I put my head on my desk and I hid under my sweater, because now I would never be the star of the kickball tournament. And that had been my happiest daydream of my life. All right, chapter 4 is called Choices. Dear first grade journal, recess was not fun today. I sat on the playground and stared at my sore toe through my piggy toe window. Sheldon sat next to me. He kept on pressing his red Band-Aid and saying, ouch. I told him to knock it off. I am not in a good mood. Junie B, first grader. After I got done writing, I heard talking in the front of the room. I looked up. Lucille was standing at Mr. Scary's desk. Camille and Chenille were standing there too. All of them were blabbering at the exact same time. Mr. Scary covered his ears. Finally, he said, whoa, 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 at them, and he pointed for them to go sit down. After that, Mr. Scary stood up and he walked to the front of the room. Boys and girls, it has come to my attention that not everyone in room 1 wants to play in the kickball tournament, he said. He glanced his eyes over to Camille and Chenille. 2 of our classmates would rather be cheerleaders, he said. And another one would like to be, this time his eyes glanced at Lucille. Homecoming queen, he said. Lucille sprang right up. No, no, princess, she called out. I want to be the homecoming princess, Mr. Scary, not queen. Princesses are way cuter than queens, and princesses aren't even that old. She looked at the children and fluffed herself. Wait till you see me, everyone. I'm going to have a beautiful float made out of pink rose petals, and there will be a golden throne for me to sit on. She looked all around the room. Maybe a few of you girls might want to be my attendants, but my Nana's going to have to look you over first. Mr. Scary went to the sink in the back of the room and he took an aspirin. Room 1 started buzzing all about Lucille. Then some of the other children started thinking about different jobs they could have too. Maybe I'll be the announcer on the loudspeaker, said Roger, and after the game I'll pour root beer on all the winners. Yeah, said Shirley, and I could sell Rice Krispie treats. My mother says those things are all profit. Just then May jumped up. And I could do crowd control. I already have a badge at home. All I need is a stick to poke people with, and a gas mask. Mr. Scary took another aspirin. Then he walked to the back of his desk, and he took a deep breath. Okay, here's the best I'm going to do for you guys. I will give everyone in here 2 choices of jobs. You can either play in the game as part of a team, or you can be a cheerleader, but that's it. It's my best offer. Lucille stood up at her desk and flounced her dress, very upset. Then she plopped back down again. After that, Sheldon stood up too, and he pointed to his Band-Aid. But what about this, Mr. Scary? Haven't you forgotten about my injury? I can't play in the game, and cheerleading's just for girls. Mr. Scary frowned. Well, that's not true, Sheldon. Lots of colleges have male cheerleaders, but since you and Junie B both have injuries, you guys can have different jobs in the tournament, okay? That's only fair. Sheldon looked relieved. Whew. I was hoping you'd say that because I know what I'm going to do. He quick climbed on his chair and made an announcement. I'm going to do a halftime show, he shouted. Mr. Scary grabbed him and put him back in his seat. A halftime show? He asked, curious. Sheldon nodded real fast. Yep. My dad used to play the cymbals in his high school band, and he already taught me how. Those are cymbals. It's a kind of instrument that you clank together. My dad already taught me how to play them. He still has his band uniform, so my mother can fix it to fit me, and then I'll just march and play the cymbals like a real band guy. Sheldon clapped his hands together. And wait, here's another idea. Maybe I'll sing too. I learned some songs at Christmas time. My dad says I can almost carry a tune. Mr. Scary smiled. You know what, Sheldon? That's a fine idea. I think a little halftime entertainment would be excellent. Sheldon clapped some more. Yay! I'll start practicing as soon as I get home, he said. Mr. Scary smiled again. Then he raised his eyebrows and he looked back at me. So, Junie B, what do you think? If Sheldon does a halftime show, would you like to be in it? I bet playing an instrument wouldn't be too hard on your sore toe. And I'm sure Sheldon would be happy to have another band member. I did a loud groan. And I put my head back on my desk and I covered up with my sweater again. All right, we are going to read chapter 5, and then tomorrow we'll do 6, okay? Chapter 5 is called Lemonade. After school, Mr. Scary called Mother at work and told her that I got disappointed about the tournament. So for dinner that night, Mother made me my favorite meal of paschetti and meatballs. Plus, she and Daddy tried to be extra nice to me. I know you're upset about not being in the game, Mother said, but everyone has disappointments in life, honey. I was still in a bad mood. I hate disappointments. I hate them, I said. Daddy patted me. Well, we all hate being disappointed, Junie B, but Mr. Scary said you can still do something fun in the tournament. I did a mad breath. I hate that tournament. I hate it, I said. Daddy squinted his eyes at me and he said, please stop saying hate. I hate saying hate. I hate it, I said. After that, Daddy picked me up and carried me to my room for timeout. It was not unexpected. I waited till he was gone. I hate timeouts. I hate them, I whispered to my stuffed animal named Philip Johnny Bob. I hate them too, Junie B, he said back. I hate everything you hate. You and me hate everything exactly the same. I hugged him very tight. I love that guy. After that, we flopped down on my bed and calmed ourselves down. Pretty soon, Mother came and got me, and she took me back to the table. I did not talk to Daddy. Also, I did not talk to my baby brother named Ollie, because he's just learning words, and all he keeps saying is moo. Mother tried to be nice some more. Are you sure you wouldn't like to be a cheerleader, Junie B? I know you couldn't jump up and down on your toe, but you could yell and shout for your team. Daddy did a chuckle. And yelling and shouting are right up your alley, he teased. I did not laugh at that remark. Daddy poked me. Don't be so glum, he said. Being a cheerleader wouldn't be so bad, would it? Every little girl likes cheerleading. Champ. We got our mail. Champ. He's barking at the mailman. Hey, Champ, stop. Sorry. All right. Are you sure you don't want to be a cheerleader, Junie B? I know you couldn't jump up and down, but you could still yell and shout for your team. Daddy did a chuckle. And yelling and shouting are right up your alley, he teased. I did not laugh at that remark. Daddy poked me. Don't be so glum. Being a cheerleader wouldn't be so bad. Every little girl likes cheerleading. I rolled my eyes. But I'm not every little girl. I'm me. I'm Junie B. Jones, and I don't want to be a cheerleader. I want to be on the kickball team. Then my nose started to sniffle. I even had a daydream about it. I was the star of the whole game, and it was wonderful, and now that's never going to happen. Mother gave me a hug. No one can be a star all the time, she said. It's just like I said earlier. Everyone has disappointments sometimes. Right, said Daddy. And when life hands you lemons, you have to learn to make lemonade. I looked weird at that man. Huh? What has lemonade got to do with this? Mother smiled. It's just a saying, Junie B. It means that when life goes a little bit sour, you need to find a way to sweeten it up a bit. Just then, Daddy went to the fridge and he took out 3 lemons. Here, I'll show you. He held up the lemons for me to see. See what I have here? They're just 3 sour lemons, right? I did a shrug. I guess so, I said. Daddy grinned. But maybe these sour lemons are more fun than they think. Then, one by one, he threw each lemon into the air, and wowie, wow, wow, he started to juggle them. He did. He juggled those lemons way high in the air, and I didn't even know he had that talent. I clapped and cheered, very thrilled. Ollie clapped, too. Andy said moo. Then we all laughed, and Daddy did a bow. Do you see what I mean? I turned 3 sour lemons into something fun, and you can do the same, Junie B. All you have to do is think of something fun to do in the kickball tournament. Then your sour situation will turn happy too. Do you understand? I nodded. Yeah, Mother, I understand. And guess what else? I know what I'm going to do. I jumped up and down from my chair. I'm going to juggle, I said, very joyful. I will juggle in Sheldon's halftime show, and then everyone will clap and cheer, and I will be the star of the whole production. After that, I stood in the middle of the kitchen just like Daddy did, and one by one I threw each lemon into the air. I kept my eyes on them very perfect. But too bad for me, because 2 of them crashed into the table and the other one hit Ollie in the head. He started to cry. I patted him real fast. Then I picked up the lemons and hurried to my room, because juggling was going to take a little practice apparently. And there were only 3 days left until Friday. All right, tomorrow we'll read chapter 6 called Practicing.